Hi guys, welcome back. This is now issue 36 of Build the Classic Routemaster. Okay, so in this issue we're going to be doing the steering wheel, and I believe there's like a little steering box that's got a few cogs in. I'm not going to lie, I've been a bit apprehensive about this build, this issue, sorry, because I've seen a lot of people have not been able to get this to work. Um, Whether it's the way they're building it, I don't know, or whether there is actually just very finicky parts. Um, but we'll find out, and hopefully, cross fingers, mine should be okay, or hope it will be okay. But I won't know until we crack this open and get building. So let's go down and crack on. Okay, so I'm going to open the pack as we normally do. We'll check off the parts and get rid of that, and then we can get building. So, God, yeah, we've got a lot of parts in this one, very small parts, so be careful when you're opening your packets. Although I'm saying that, a lot of you building this have already done this stage, so you would have already been super careful. Way. Okay, so a lot of parts. I'm going to leave that part up there for the moment. The bag, sorry, just in case anything is wrong. Okay, so 36A straight away is the steering wheel, and that is made of metal, and that is absolutely fantastic. Burp, burp. So yeah, that's really nice. 36B is this silver piece here, which is a cap, and I might have to adjust the zoom for you. So that is the zoom. It hasn't got a logo on it, although I've seen a lot of people on the Facebook group modify this and actually put one of the AEC logos on the top of the steering wheel. But that is the centre cap for the steering wheel. We've got 36C here, which is the gear lever, and this is really small, and this is made of plastic. Uh, 36D, I believe, is this bit, which is the gear lever cover, which is there. So that is the gear lever cover. 36E is the horn column and gear lever housing. And that's a lot of detail there. Look at that. .36F, which is the steering column, and this is like a plastic piece that is hollow all the way through. 36G, which is the steering shaft, which is this part here, and it's got some teeth on the end of it, a sprocket. Okay. 36H is the steering gear, and it's this part here, and it's a round piece. It's got a square hole in it. It's made of metal, and again it's got some teeth on there. We've got 36I, which is the rocker lever. Again, there's a square piece on there, and then you've got a hole through there. Lots of very small parts, isn't there? 36J is a push rod, and that is this part here. and it's got a slight angle to this side, and then this side is like a semicircle. It's got a bit of paint defect on the end, but you can just see there's a semicircle. It's been etched out, and that's got a screw hole in there, just in one side. Okay. Oh, okay, I was getting worried then. I thought I was missing something. Right, 36k is the gearbox, but not the actual gearbox, obviously, because we've already done that. But this is the actual the steering gearbox, obviously, as we're doing the steering wheel. So this part is made of metal, and it's got a large hole through there, and that all seems in order. And then we've got 36L, which is, again, they've called it the gearbox. And then we've got some PM screws, which are flanged screws. We've got some CM screws here. And then we've also got some QM screws. And we've got some DP screws ×2, and they've actually forgotten to put the picture of the DP screws on there. Okay, so first it looks like we're going to be assembling the gearbox. So I'll come in, adjust focus, so hopefully you can see what's going on. I'm just going to get some more light on the situation. So we want this part here with the hole in. We want 36I, which is the rocker lever. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to place that in there, inside the hole, facing this. Well, the lever is actually facing downwards, so I'm not sure if that matters, but obviously I'm going to do it as per the magazine, so it's showing it like that through there. And then it wants us to put this 36H in, which is the steering gear, and we're going to line that up, and that will fit nicely in the square there. Okay, I'm just going to pop that down for a minute, because we're going to need a PM screw, and we're going to fasten that all together. Now this is a metal screw that's going to go in. I'm actually going to use a little bit of oil just to help me get that through, and it can't be a bad thing in the gearbox, surely, because it might help. If there's any overspill, it'll help those gears turn smoother, perhaps. Okay, so there you go. And then with the PM screw, I'm just going to go through that hole, central hole. And I'm super happy that that has gone in nice and tight. I'm not going to force it. So there you go. And then that moves now with that. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is take the steering shaft 36G and fit it into the gearbox section 36K. Ensure the ridges on part 36G fit into the neck part. Okay, so you can see these two ridges there. They're going to fit in between this part here, so when that goes on, you'll see it fits just nicely in there, and when I turn that, it also turns that gear. You can see the steering's moving just down there. Okay, so with that in place, we're going to attach the cover and we're going to sandwich that together. So I'm just going to check I've still got some movement, which I have, and that's actually really smooth. And then we're going to use CM screws, and we need 3 of them, and we're going to secure this gearbox together, and you've got the 3 screw holes there. 1, 2 and 3. I'm just going to move that light out a bit. It's difficult because I've got a bit of a shadow going on. So CM screws might help if I got them out. Okay, and we're going to line that up, and then I'm just going to pop them into those 3 holes. So that is 1, and I've put that in most of the way just to keep that together so that the nothing moves inside. Okay, I'm happy that that is tight. I'm just going to test this, and yeah, the steering does work. So when you turn that, it actually spins the arm here. So I'm happy with that. Looks like I've got a good one. Okay, so next we're going to need a QM screw, which I shall get out first. And then holding this like this in this direction with the lever behind, we're going to attach the semicircle part towards the left, and we're going to sit that on there like so, and then we're going to turn that over and attach that with a QM screw. So if you're looking at it from the front with the lever at the top, this will come out to the right. So I think the best thing to do to tackle this is I'm going to just put the screw through the lever arm. Then that gives me place to line up. And then I'm just going to secure them together. Okay, and I'm not sure. It says do not over tighten, so I'm wondering if that needs some movement, which does make sense because I expect it's gonna have to move in that sort of fashion. And the screw itself isn't moving when I'm doing that action, so I'm happy to leave that like that. And then when I turn the steering, it's a bit tight that way. There you go. You can see that that is working as intended, so I'm happy with that. We can always go back and tighten that up later on, but it says do not over tighten, so I mean, I say that a lot. Yeah, that's fine. I say that a lot, you know, don't over tighten, but I think this means don't over tighten, to leave that free. I hope, but obviously, you know, there's nothing wrong with maybe adding a dash of oil to the join there just to help that, but we'll see what happens in later issues. Okay, the next step is I'm just going to put that aside for the moment. Fit the hole at the end of the gear lever over the peg in the gear lever housing. Okay, so as we look at it this way, you can see that there's a locating peg just in the middle up there. Just point at my tweezers, just there. And what we're going to do we're just going to put the lever on, like so. And then we're going to put the housing over the top. And that has got a raised hole. I'm so sorry about this light, it's an absolute nightmare. You see they've got the raised hole, and that's going to fit in that recess just there. Brilliant. And then that should snap together. And then we're going to use a DP screw. And we're going to secure that in from the other side just there. And there we have the lever. Love the detail on this model, it's absolutely amazing, isn't it? Okay, so next we need the driver's cab floor, okay, from last week. And we're going to attach the we're going to fit the this part here, and you'll notice at the bottom it's slightly angled, and it's actually got a locating peg just there where my finger is. That is going to line up with this hole, and it's sort of going to sit at an angle like that. That is a lovely fit. And then we're going to take the gearbox assembly from step 3 and fit 36G into the steering column, 36F from beneath the floor. So we're going to hold that into place. There is the where we've just pushed that through. And with the cab wall away from you, we're going to pop that up right, that's really good. This will only fit one way, because you'll notice that there's 2 screw holes here, and they're offset. So if you try and put this in the incorrect way, which would be like that in my case, it just wouldn't fit. The holes don't line up at all. But if you swivel it round, they line up perfectly. And I think I'm going to remove that for the moment until we've screwed this in. I'll remember this before, because it's just going to keep falling out, because we can attach that afterwards. And then we're going to attach that in with 2 CM screws from underneath. So what I'm actually going to do is grab the CM screws. I'm going to start them off. So that is one. Right, that's two in. And then I'm going to then fit this plastic piece back over there so we can line that up. Okay, and it doesn't willingly want to line up anymore, which is interesting. Oh, so maybe that is why we need to fit that first then. Okay, this is very fiddly at the moment. And I think it might have been because I had that the wrong way round, because now it is fitting okay. So there's me saying it wouldn't, the holes don't line up, but they actually did. So I need to concentrate better. Okay, and I haven't done that too tight. And then this is just going to run underneath the cab. Okay, so step 8, we're now going to fit these switches here. And that's going to fit on there like so. So if you look at it this way, you've got the large black lever on the right, and then you've got this silver one just here on the left. And just noticed the handbrake came out a little bit, so that's quite a loose fit. So I'm just going to stop in my tracks just for the moment, and I'm actually going to glue that before it goes missing. And I know we can glue it because I've seen ahead with the other builds. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab this cotton bud, and I'm just going to cut the end off of it just so I've got a plain black piece. Just going to put a little bit on the end, and then where the handbrake is coming through here, I'm just going to carefully just drop a bit of glue on that side, and while I'm there I think I'm just going to do this as well. The yeah, just to stop that coming off this here. Right, okay, anyway, back to where we were. So once we've fitted this on, there's a little notch in there, so this will only sit down one way. Okay, we're then going to fit the steering wheel. And it doesn't matter which way that goes. And then we're going to fix that in place with an screw. Over the end of the steering column, fix in place with an screw. Cover the screw head with the cap. Okay, we haven't actually got an screw. We didn't get supplied an screw. Actually, we did. I'm talking nonsense. We should have been issued with an screw. CM, QM, DP. PM, CM. Oh, I think I've lost a screw. So we've got PM. CM. PM, CM. QM. MM and DP. Okay, so I have possibly misplaced the screws, or they weren't in the pack, but I can't actually remember seeing them at the beginning of the build. So in order to find that out, I'm going to have to look back. So just bear with me a moment. I'm just going to look back and see if we had them originally. Okay, so I am back, and I've had to refresh my memory because obviously I do the live build with Paint with Penny. Correctly, when I started, I didn't have any screws, so I've actually gone to re-watch the beginning of my live stream with Paint with Penny, and she also didn't get any screws, and it was actually a typo. Because if you notice in the beginning, I said they forgot to put the screw picture in. So those two screws are obviously pictured for DP. Doesn't exist. So when I was on Penny's live stream, Dave Say was on that week, and he actually went through, and by process of elimination we crossed the screws off, which only leaves us a CM screw left. So we've got one, we always get a spare, we know that, so we've got one PM left, we've got one QM left, and we've actually got one DP left, but CM we've got two. So by process of the elimination, we know we're going to be using the CM screw for this, and we can try it out and see how it fits. So I was getting panicky there because I thought, oh no, I've lost screws, that isn't me. But we never got them in the first place. So again, we're going to fit the steering wheel on there. There's a square hole which will go on this square post, so that will lock that into place. Okay, and then using the CM screw, we're just going to secure that through the centre of the steering wheel. I'm going to use some oil just to help that go in. And then from the bottom, just hold that, and then I'm going to secure the steering wheel into place. Okay, and I'm happy with that. It's a little bit stiff, but the more we work it, the more it will get looser, because eventually it will start to rub the paint down. And I'm really happy because also when you turn the wheel, you see there we have movement from the gearbox. So I'm super happy that this is all working as it should. And that's getting looser already, actually. Just that little bit of playing around. So there we go. Super happy. So once we fitted the steering wheel, we're going to then put the silver cap in the centre, and that is just going to be a push fit connection like so. And isn't that looking wonderful? Okay, so that was it for issue 36. Again, I'm so happy that that all works as it should. I've seen a lot of people with terrible problems with the steering system, this all falling apart and it getting jammed up. But no, I seem to be all up and running. And so you turn the wheel and that moves as it should. So I'm really happy. So that can go away carefully. I'm going to sit that on the chassis of the bus, just because I don't want this to get damaged. So I'm going to treat that with a lot of respect, because obviously it's going to break. Not only that, we've got this handbrake. I have glued it in, but obviously that is really super fragile. So we don't want to manhandle this too much. So yeah. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe. If you wish to buy me a coffee, there is a link in the description below. But until next week, take care. God bless.